Recording.
Woo! Hey, everybody. It's a golden opportunity.
Hey, everyone. I'm wonderful, and you're wonderful.
Aww. And we're here for all
About the slander.
All right. So this was Mason's choice, but this is a great choice because this is actually my villain origin story we're talking about today.
Where it all began.
So, Mason, you want to tell everybody who we're talking about today if they can't read the title? Because
yeah, we're obviously doing the Wonder Girls, which is JYP's first girl group. I think it was his first girl group. It had to have been.
It's his first girl group on the JYP label, but JYP has been writing for girl groups and writing for women for a really long time.
Oh yeah, he had those early 2000 hits for sure.
Right. And so Wonder Girls is a part of the pantheon of K-pop second gen stars. And honestly, if you want to track the beginning and end of second generation and get a snapshot of what second generation looked like as it grew through the years, just follow this discography. This is it.
Yep, the 10 years, 2007 to 2017.
Yeah, this is literally it. And if you want to know what second gen looked like, every video stereotype is represented here, from the story videos to the super outrageous videos to the choreography videos to the box room videos. Everything can be found with the Wonder Girls.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how honestly just like impactful they were. I mean, when you talk about K-pop girl groups of second gen, the list goes SNSD was definitely the most popular, then 21 probably, and then the Wonder Girls, I would say.
And I would also argue that for a time, it was Wonder Girls SNSD
to
anyone.
The like so hot era, for sure.
Yeah. So before we begin, I just want to say this because it's going to come out eventually and I need everybody to be clear. I personally will not accept any JYP slander. There's a lot of people who expect us to be on here and shitting on JYP the man. That's not going to happen today because anybody who knows me knows he is my secret celebrity crush. He is the one that when I'm in dark corners by myself, I lust after. So I'm not going to be talking bad about him.
I won't either because, listen, the pen is fire. It doesn't matter what you say. He could be the worst person ever. I'm sorry, but he wrote 50 #1 hits. Like something's working here, okay? And so many of them are from the Wonder Girls. And I can't wait to talk about them. Would you like to give your introduction to the Wonder Girls, how you got started with them?
Sure, I absolutely can. So my first introduction to the Wonder Girls was my first introduction to K-pop, which was the Wendy Williams show. Wendy Williams she is a celebrity, but initially when I first knew who Wendy Williams was, she was a radio DJ and she had a show on the radio called The Wendy Williams Show. And it was her and Charlamagne the God, and they would talk about celebrity gossip. There's some really classic interviews that she's done on her radio show that are on YouTube. The interaction between her and Whitney Houston, I recommend everyone watch. Anyway, Wendy Williams told everybody on her radio show that she was going to have a television show. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch it if I can. And I found out what channel her show was on. And her first musical guest ever on the Wendy Williams show was the Wonder Girls singing Nobody. Yes. And that video exists here on YouTube.
Huh. I didn't realize that was her first guest ever. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then my daughter's first K-pop song was Two Different Tears, because the Wonder Girls released the American version of Two Different Tears in Justice stores, which Justice is a store that doesn't exist anymore. I think it used to be limited to, then it was called Justice, then it shut down, and now they sell Justice clothes in Walmart in the children's section. But it was a store that used to have like everything glitter and girly and pastel and unicorn. And my daughter was little at the time. I want to say she was like 4 or 5 years old, and we walked in. No, she was older than that. I think she might have been 7. We walked into Justice, and Two Different Tears was playing on the television screen in the Justice, and that was her first K-pop song. So, like I said, the Wonder Girls are my villain origin story.
Mm-hmm.
I became the K-pop hag you know today based on misleading information about what K-pop was about initially.
That's a good story. Nobody is a great first K-pop song. A great first K-pop song.
And our family has 2. That's crazy that my first K-pop song was Nobody, and then our family first K-pop song was Two Different Tears.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I came in a winner off the bat.
Yeah.
And then I had to learn about everything else.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're here. Oh, sorry. You open your mouth. Were you gonna say something?
No, I don't know where to start. I guess we should start with the first song on the list.
We should. The first song on the list is the debut. It's Irony. This lineup consists of Yeon, Sunmi, Hyuna, yes, that Hyuna, Sohee, and Sunyi. Lots of S names for some reason here at JYP.
Yes. So when Irony first started playing, the only thing I could think of was, this sounds very familiar. And not because I've heard Irony before, because I have, but I'm like, this song sounds like something else. And then I realized exactly what song this song sounds like. It sounds like another song that JYP wrote called Adult Ceremony.
This song sounds nothing like that.
It does. And it sounds like it in the style of singing. It's not about the fact that the lyrics are the same.
Oh, I'm like, this melody is not at all like Coming of Age Ceremony.
It's the production. JYP, the artist that sings Adult Ceremony, she was signed to JYP and he produced that album. And the style of singing and like the kind of nasally weird melody, like harmony that they have going,
yeah,
exactly the same. Like this is literally the exact same production.
Yeah, JYP always has his artists sing in a very specific manner.
Yes. Like Wooyoung from 2PM sings this way. GOT7 used to sing this way when they first came out. Like it is a style of singing that JYP specifically has his trainees learn, because JYP as a artist was known early on in his career for being able to sing live and do a ton of dancing throughout his entire set. Like that was the hallmark of JYP as an artist. And so he developed this kind of nasally quality of singing that doesn't require you to engage your entire diaphragm in order to be able to do it, so that you could dance and perform and not lose your breath while you're singing. And it causes all of JYP's artists to have a very distinct sound. And as we go through this list and people leave JYP or get further and further away from their initial JYP tutelage, people's voices change significantly.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a really good video if you want to know like more about JYP and his vocal stylings and production. In the very first season of Unnie Slam Dunk, which was like 2015-ish or 2016, JYP wrote the song that they sang with like Tiffany, Jessie, Somi, because she was still on the label, and some other older ladies, some more actresses and comedians and stuff. But you can go and, you know, there's definitely the YouTube cut of them recording the song and how JYP, especially with Tiffany, had her try to sing differently and fit the JYP mold. It's a really interesting watch.
Yeah, and there was a viral video a few years ago of this lady basically doing the different singing styles of every record label. And JYP was the most distinctive out of all the vocal styles she was trying to imitate, because it is a very like, sing from here, don't get winded, sing from here, sing from your nose if you have to, like that kind of thing. And so, yeah, like this song, if this wasn't a hit at the time that it came out, I can fully understand why, because it sounds like a very generic JYP production.
It does. It's honestly not the greatest song. The only part I remember is the hook, "My go irony." Like that part is catchy. Everything else is a no-go. I did think it was interesting though, speaking of nasal voices, that Hyuna has like raps in a much lower register in this song than like the rest of her career. Like she somehow missed the nasaliness when she was at JYP and picked it up at Cube somehow.
Yes, and we will talk about Hyuna and her life after JYP when we get to another song in the list, but I have a feeling that Hyuna developed her rap voice based on a persona that Cube asked her to adopt.
Right.
One of the things that we're going to talk about later on, but I'm just going to mention it here. These were very, very young women when they debuted. Hyuna, I believe, might have been 14 when the song was recorded. Yeah, and the video is of them at someone's apartment because Sunny's been cheated on, and then they engage satellite spy technology to find out where her boyfriend is. Then they go to the club where her boyfriend is, and they use a voodoo doll to magically manipulate him while he's trying to cheat on her. And my first thought was, none of these girls are old enough to be in this fucking club. What the hell am I doing here?
Listen, it's hard to tell when the video is so low quality, okay? You couldn't see... Sunmi fully left the group before you ever got to see her face in a video, because the quality in these first few songs, you know.
Filmed on a potato. And I don't understand because SM is currently going through a reload schedule. Like they're reloading videos to HQ. JYP, please do this. You cannot let the internet believe this is what these early videos were meant to look like.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I was going to bring it up too. I need them to remaster these videos. Why not anyways? They're hits. Remaster the hits. At least remaster the Nobody video. Like, come on.
Oh man, it's a tough watch. It is a very tough watch. But yeah, they go to the club. Her boyfriend is cheating on her, which makes me assume that the boyfriend is way too old to be dating her because he's in the club and she should not be. Then the boyfriend sees her in the club and goes to make fun of her for catching him cheating. And then she uses her witch powers to blow him across the room and slam him into a wall. I don't. You have to understand, second gen, when it came to videos, chaos,
the styling. Second gen really suffered for your faves. Truly. There's some tragic shit we're about to see.
Yes, like emo Tumblr hair was going on in this video. A lot of J-pop inspired looks, layers upon layers upon layers, yet everyone is in the smallest skirts they could find.
Yes, it's very much that like Disney Channel 2006 styling where they threw them on a Justice clothes hanger and walked out the store. But they were in Justice for a reason, okay?
Right. Oh my gosh, it's a mess, but it was fun to hear everybody's voices, even if watching it was nigh on impossible.
Right.
So go ahead.
We move to the next song, which is their breakout hit, Tell Me. Now listen, if you haven't heard Tell Me and you're a K-pop fan, I highly recommend listening to it because this and G dictated what a K-pop song structure is in terms of like how the verses work, the choruses, the hooks. This song is the blueprint for K-pop in many ways.
Yeah. This Tell Me is one of those songs that JYP knew was going to work before he even recorded it because not for nothing, JYP and I are not that far apart in age. And the very first time I heard this song, I'm like, this sounds like stock Aiken Waterman, like right off the bat. And when we did the re-listen to this, I sent a video to Mason of a song called Two of Hearts by an artist called Stacy Q. And I sent him a drag performance because I thought maybe he'd get more out of that. But there was a writing group called Stock Aitken Waterman. They were really popular in the 80s, and they wrote a style of music that was like high energy dance pop. And it was massive in the UK. It was super popular in the United States. And this song literally was JYP running a comb through the best of stock Aiken Waterman and pulling that up and being like, here is a hit. Like it
Mhm.
is so instantly familiar for
Yeah.
people who are fans of 80s, mid 80s to like late 80s pop music.
Yeah. It's so good. It's such a good song. I mean, it's just a hit for a reason. It's the first song to have Huben because so the fun thing about Hyuna is that she actually did record the song and video for Tell Me, and you can watch cuts of her on YouTube. There's cuts of Hyuna just like doing the Tell Me bit, but her parents actually pulled her out of the group due to medical issues that Hyuna does still deal with today. It's actually the reason why. So back, oh, what was it? 2020, she was going to release Good Girl and then lead into her first full-length album, but couldn't due to these health issues. And then a few months later, she ended up releasing I'm Not Cool. But she still deals with this. And then JYP is like friends with another label or something, and they sent over their trainee Yuben. So this is how Yuben joins the group, and she joined, like that. They, because they were already recording the video by the time Hyuna was pulled.
Mhm. Yeah, Yuben was supposed to be in a group with like members of After School, like a bunch of other big K-pop girls. She was
Hmm.
supposed to be in a group with all of them, but the company that they were a part of ran out of money.
Hmm.
And so that's how she ended up getting kind of shuffled around. But yeah, this is the first comeback where Hyuna's not a part of the group, which it's unfortunate that like her health problems were so bad that her parents didn't ask for a hiatus and said they just pulled her out, because
Right.
I would love to have seen what not only Wonder Girls would have been like if Hyuna had stayed in the group, but also what the Wonder Girls would have been like with her in the group, but her growth on JYP. Because
Yeah.
Cube has a very different culture than JYP does. And when we start to talk about like everybody's solos and stuff like that after they left JYP or after they quit being a part of the Wonder Girls, it kind of is an example of the culture at JYP,
Right.
whereas Hyuna very much is a product of the culture of Q, for better or
Mhm.
for worse. So it'd be interesting to it's interesting to think about the possibilities.
Yeah, totally agree.
Also, like it blew my mind that Hyuna, when you see the video with Hyuna's participation in the choreography portion,
Mhm.
Hyuna's killing it. She's
Yeah.
15 years old, wearing the shortest micro skirt ever, and is just hitting it on all cylinders,
Mhm.
crisp as shit. After she leaves the group and they add Yuben, they decide that Sohee is the main dancer. And
Big mistake.
the choreography bits of Sohee doing her main dance, it's like watching spaghetti wiggle. It's so sloppy and loose and just
Yeah.
not at all the same caliber.
So he has many talents. Singing and dancing aren't really on that list, but I mean, it's like the JYP thing where it's like they cast stars, not necessarily singers, if that makes sense.
That is it. Like when we talk about JYP culture, I need people to understand JYP since day one has always been about, are our idols likable?
Yes.
Because
If
they're
you're
like,
not
if you,
likable,
yeah. Because JYP is like, I got the songs. I can give my songs to dogs, and if they can bark in tune, it's gonna be a hit. So
right.
I need my idols to be beautiful and likable.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would say the same goes probably till today. I am very interested. So we're recording this, as you guys will probably see it on Sunday, February 20th. In 2 days, on Tuesday, JYP's new girl group debuts. And I'm very curious to see if they've handled the vocal situation that seems to happen with JYP girl groups, in which there's like one or two good singers at best. Like Twice has Jihyo, they have Nayeon, and then there's the other ones. Wonder
Yeah.
Girls had Yeon, Sun Yi, and the rest of them. It's
Yeah.
kind of has Leah. She's there, but Itzy's more of like a dance group, so like the dancing's more important. So we'll see what happens with NMIX. What's their name? It's something weird.
Bullshit, that's their name. It's
Okay.
bullshit that they made us buy a blind package almost a year ago, and
Only
they're
sell
replaying
it
that shit.
now. Because they told us, they were like, hey, JYP's having a new girl group. We're going to debut them. You have to buy the debut album now. For it is a 1-month pre-order. And after that, you will never see this again. Now tell me why it's not K-Town for you.
Same listing. Same listing. They didn't even make a new listing. They took the same listing and just said, now it is called A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
When we were told if you didn't buy it in the week that it went on pre-order, you would never have the opportunity to buy it.
Right.
They've held my money hostage at the record store for months.
Choice Music LA has had my $33 since June of 2021.
So fucking
I'm so annoyed. And the group seems like an ITZY diatribe, which, okay, we're getting too off track.
Yeah.
Let's pull
Okay.
it back and Tell Me.
Let's go back to Tell Me. The video for Tell Me.
When I do not remember the man flashing all those women.
This video, okay, so I'm gonna say the thing out loud that people say underneath the surface. Wonder Girls is a group for lesbians. Much like FX is a group for lesbians, Wonder Girl is a group for lesbians.
Mm-hmm.
This video is all about a woman saving other women from horrible, stupid men.
Yeah.
The bus driver's horrible and stupid and is about to kill a bus full of girls.
Mm-hmm.
The flasher who's hanging out in the locker room is assaulting girls. Here comes Sohee to knock him out. And then they're in a classroom, a girl's classroom, where there's like 3 guys picking on some girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got to fight them too. So I feel like the message here is we are for the girls. Guys exist in this universe, but we don't fuck with them.
Yeah, the I Feel You music video was for the lesbians, for sure.
Yeah, and Huben.
Yeah. But yeah, Tell Me, I mean, a bop and a half. Who doesn't love it?
It has such cute choreo. I love the choreo. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm wearing Yeti's curly ponytail. She let me borrow it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this video has such good energy, even though it is fucking wild again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it's catchy and the point dance is super catchy. And I can see why this took Korea by storm. Also, everyone sounds markedly better in this song than they did in Irony. Like the production is totally different. Their voices are much, much better. Like it's just night and day.
Yeah, Irony needs to be re-recorded and remastered as a video.
Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next song on the list is the song that has been a flashpoint in the war between Blinks and Onces. So Hot.
Oh, why? Because they think the Twice cover is better and that the Blackpink version's better?
Yeah.
I mean, the Blackpink version is the better one, but what? You disagree?
They didn't really have a cover. They just sampled So Hot. And so I think that it doesn't qualify. Like literally it has a whole other verse.
It does, but I like the new beat that they added.
They don't even hit all the choreography beats.
I don't expect that from Blackpink.
I'm just saying, like, it's not the same song. They can call it the same song. It's not the same song.
Right, they transformed it. That's why it's better.
If we're talking about who did an actual better cover, it is Twice. If we're talking about who did a better interpretation, then it's Blackpink. But they didn't do a cover. They fucking took all of the elements of the song, stripped it down to like the 5 or 6 elements they need in order to fill in that gap in their concert footage, and that's what they performed.
I don't know. Let's say they're on Queendom and you have to do So Hot. I'd rather they go the Blackpink route.
Actually, if I was gonna do it on Queendom, I would totally change that song to be as like cloyingly babyish Aegyo as possible. I would do So Hot wearing fucking tutus and binkies. Like I would way up the bubble.
You got a bib on.
Yeah. so hot. I just can't help it.
I think this is also the first song where like Huben has lines because like I don't remember her having much of anything in Tell Me.
She had a really small kind of rap refrain towards the end of the song, like around the bridge area, but that's really it.
But she has a pretty decent rap in So Hot. I forgot how like solid her section was there.
Also, the room that they dance in So Hot, is that the same room as Miss A's I Can't Breathe?
I don't know because I don't like that song, so I don't remember that video.
Because it's like a room with like, I can't. You'd have to compare the two.
And pink lines.
Thank you. I was like, this room looks so fucking familiar. Where have I seen this room before? What I could see of it because video quality.
Right. Again, we have yet to see anyone's face.
Yes. So this is a video where the girls are in their daily lives being the most conceited people ever, and every time they like really start to feel themselves, like they either trip or something stupid happens.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's I think that they needed to do that because honestly, if you were to hear this song and try to read it as like completely serious, no tongue-in-cheek, no parody, this song would be a song that a lot of guys would be like, oh, bitches think they're just so awesome. But when you read it with the video and how the video makes fun of somebody believing they're so hot, it kind of cools people's tempers and makes the girls seem more likable.
True. Which they really don't need because they are hot and they should say it. But, you know, men are weird. So I get it.
Right. And I like the choreo on this song. I think it's got cute choreo. Apparently, the girls from the group hated this choreography because the choreography was like, I'm so cool. I just can't help it, baby. And they're like,
they didn't like this or Tell Me, which couldn't be me.
There's a reason why people like JYP run the label because they know
he's making the good choices, which you'll see in some of their solo work that, he was making the good choices.
Yeah. All right. So now we get to the best part. Nobody.
I want nobody but you. I want nobody but you. Man, this song, first of all, I actually really love the English version. The English version is probably their best English version of a song, in my opinion. It holds up really well. Is that what I put on this?
Yes, and this is the song. This is the version that I first heard. Even though they sang it on the Wendy Williams show, I did not understand a single word that they were singing because they learned the English for this song phonetically. JYP actually speaks pretty good English, but the girls of the group did not speak English as well as him. So of course he does what he always does. He sang a demo and basically said, repeat what I say. And so when they came to the Wendy Williams show, I think they were again trying to sing it phonetically and it just comes across a mess. But I was still very interested by these Asian women in these like Diana Ross and the Supreme costumes.
Yeah, the song I think is one of the best hooks in K-pop. Just like, it's just great. I don't even know how to describe how good it is. It just is good. I'll be honest, I love the video. It's by far my favorite video so far on this list. I think people clown on it because it's definitely like a bit of a vanity video for Park Jin Young himself. But first of all,
he looks so hot in this video. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, first of all, he looks great. Second of all, Honey is my favorite JYP song. So I'm glad we got to hear Honey again. Third of all, it's a really fun story of like how the backup singers end up becoming global superstars. Like that's just a really cute video.
Yeah, and JYP, of course, because he's got a fucking sense of humor, he's stuck on the toilet with no toilet paper. That's how the background singers
end up full of himself.
Yeah. I just love JYP, but yeah, when we watched this video, because I'm so used to seeing JYP as he is now that I sometimes forget what he looked like before. And when we were watching this video, I'm like, all right, JYP, hello. You look good. You look real good.
Real good. Yeah, JYP, he knows how to fuck. He knows how to fuck for sure.
Oh yeah. And he knows how to fuck everything, not just one or the other. He knows how to fuck everyone on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
That's
respect
the reason why 2 p.m. looks the way they do. He said, I specifically need men who look this way because this is what I'm trying to look at.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Nobody, such a hit, such a hit. Um, Now we're at Two Different Tiers, which
Sounds a lot like Tell Me. Two Different Tiers and Tell Me share a lot of the same musical motifs.
they do. Tell Me's the better one though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly don't have much to say about Two Different Tiers. I think the blue outfits are cute. I think the chorus is cute. There's some fun production. It's a little quirky, but it's a bit forgettable in the grand scheme of the Wonder Girls discography.
I could talk about this video all day. I hate what they've done to everyone's hair. Those big roll bangs are ugly as shit. It's supposed to be like a Charlie's Angel spoof, but then it turns into some alien dance party thing. Bobby Lee, who used to be on Mad TV on Fox, he plays the alien that they end up seducing and then ripping off his face. And then like the alien apparently is a disco alien because they've got all of the dancers in afros,
Mm-hmm.
which JYP, stop this. Stop. Don't incorporate afros into anything you do. Please stop. But yeah, like this video is bananas, which is the reason why it played Injustice, because the outfits the girls are wearing, it's like bike shorts with swimsuits over them, and just nothing makes sense.
It makes no sense. JYP himself looks crazy in this. He has horrible yellow hair with like thick yellow eyeliner. It's a mess.
I just don't understand what the hell this was supposed to be. But again, it's JYP, and you know his pin is still strong. This is still
Yeah,
a great song, but very much derivative of Tell Me.
it is. It is notable though that this is the first song without Sunmi, and it's the first song that includes Lim. Um,
Yes.
and I like Lim. I think that she actually has a really nice vocal quality, and she sings very JYP.
Yes, she does. Also, I like her look. A lot of people don't really get her
Dude.
look,
Yeah,
but I mean, she has these huge eyes and she just looks very friendly. And I think
yeah,
that's something that is useful in this group because not for nothing, so he does not look friendly.
she doesn't, but she looks great.
Oh yeah, so he's beautiful. That's why G Dragon used to date her. But she also looks very mean.
That is one unfriendly looking couple.
I'm telling you, I mean, they must have the most aggro interactions with each other because they don't know if the other's angry because
Oh,
they
for
just
sure.
always look pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
like their arguments always start with like, "Why are you looking at me like that? What do you mean why I'm looking at you like that? Why are you looking at me like that?"
And that's why they broke up.
Ah,
Okay, the next song is my personal favorite Wonder Girls song. I I love this song. I love this video. I love everything about Be My Baby. I love that it starts with the little JYP producer tag, which I
and the
miss in
Wonder Girls.
K-pop songs. I'm sorry, JYP, the next song you produce, please put a little JYP whisper because it's excellent. And the fact that you got bullied out of doing that is foul. And K-pop fans, you are wrong.
I know why he did it. It's because K-pop fans over the last several years have been brutal to JYP. They hate JYP.
Yeah, they
Like,
bullied him out of it. And it makes me sad.
well, they bullied him out of that, but also like it affects his bottom line. People don't want to give a song a chance when they know that JYP has written it if they hear his name in the song. Now, if he wrote it and you don't hear him say JYP, people
Mhm.
love the song. And
Right.
so it affects his bottom line and he's not about to lose money over it. So he's just like, I'm fine. I don't have to say my name.
I know, but it makes me sad. Anyways, it starts with the cute little producer tag, and then the boom, 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 and the Wonder Girls are back. Do. Like, it's just like this song really hits. It's their first, I think, comeback, I think, after the American failure that was, or is around the time of the American just clusterfuck situation.
Okay, so I feel two ways about it. On the one hand, I will say that the Wonder Girls' venture into America was not as successful as everyone had hoped it would be. And there's many reasons for that. Number one, America is extremely xenophobic when it comes to anybody outside of American artists performing music on American
Right.
radio. Two, social media was not the same then as it is now. Even though the
Right.
internet existed, it wasn't something that everyone was constantly engaged in all day long. The average American worker checks social media 75 times a day during their work hours.
Mhm.
So social media is huge now. Back when I was watching the Wonder Girls, I was not able to do that because people did not do that. We didn't look at our phones during work hours. And so I think that, yes, it was not the kind of success you're seeing with a Blackpink and BTS, or even the success you're seeing with Twice.
Mhm.
However, I'm here because of them coming to America.
Right.
And there are K-pop fans who will tell you they saw the Wonder Girls on Nickelodeon. They saw the Wonder Girls open up for the Jonas Brothers. They
Mhm.
saw the Wonder Girls at Justice. So
Right.
in the grander scheme of things, this was a highly successful venture into America for what it brought into K-pop spaces.
Right. There's a reason that when BTS fans claim that they brought K-pop to America, people go, hold on a minute. People were there before you who laid the groundwork, because without a Wonder Girls, a BTS would not be in America.
Yeah, because early BTS fans were people who came into K-pop through Japanese music, through theme songs for animes and
Mhm.
shows and stuff like that.
Mhm.
People who came into it because of the Wonder Girls and SNSD being in America. Folks
Mhm.
who got into K-pop because of fucking Gangnam Style. And
Yeah.
so in order for BTS to be able to pave a way, there had to be an audience. And
Mhm.
a Western audience was established through everyone else's adventures into America. Hell, even Rain. Rain was in Speed Racer and Ninja Assassin
Right.
and won an MTV award, an MTV Movie Award.
Right.
So, you know, there I will not say that BTS didn't have their own achievements. And I won't say that
Of
what they
course.
have done in America isn't significant, and that Bonsta X being in America, NCT being in America, some of the other stuff, that probably wouldn't be pushed as much if it wasn't for BTS. But let's not ever conflate the fact that their success means they were the only one or they did it by themselves. That's
Mhm.
just not true.
Yeah. But I guess back to Be My Baby, the
Uh-huh.
song is great. So when I got into Wonder Girls, so I had heard them, of course, on like Nickelodeon. I have two older sisters, so I was in Justice a lot as a kid. Not shopping for me, but just sitting there like staring at the TV. So I knew Wonder Girls from like Nickelodeon stuff, and then when I actually got into K-pop, I didn't really pay attention to them. I knew that they existed, and then Reboot came out because they had a huge gap in their they had a 3-year gap between 2012 and 2015 where they didn't put out music, and I got into K-pop heavily in 2013. So I really didn't listen to anything by the Wonder Girls until Reboot came out, and I hated I Feel You on the first listen. I didn't like that song, which I regret because I was wrong. I was wrong, and I've come back around to it. But I did not like I Feel You. But I forgot. Like I think Be My Baby was just like recommended to me on YouTube one day, and I was like, let me give the Wonder Girls a chance. And this is a hit. I mean, the chorus is spectacular. I truly love everything about this song. It's one of my all-time favorite K-pop songs. I can't listen to this song and frown. It makes me so happy to listen to. It's so upbeat and peppy. I love the clapping. I love Huben's rap part. There's so many bits in the music video that I really like. There's a part where like it's Sohee and the lights change, and so now she's in silhouette, and she does this cute little like strut down in like little struts in like a silhouette, and I really love that part.
Mm.
There's just so many great aspects to this release.
Yes. And we would be remiss if we didn't tell you how incredibly influenced this video was by Beyonce's Single Ladies.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Like this video was not made in a vacuum. I think JYP saw Single Ladies and was like, that for them.
Yeah, and it worked. It's really cute. And honestly, the album that goes along with this song is super good. If you want to listen to a really good Wonder Girls album, this is a great album to start with.
Yeah, this is Wonder World, which, like every Wonder Girls album, you're gonna have to get on the secondhand market because like everything K-pop, once the album promotion period is over, most albums do not get a reprint.
Yeah. Especially because they're not on the label anymore too. But I'm sure you can still find a copy. I would recommend getting it. It actually has a really cute photo book. They do a really fun thing with the CD where it's like, I think it's one of the girls holding a gun and the gun is the like CD image and it's printed on the book. It's just really cool.
Yeah. I have a deluxe version myself. I'm not going to pull it out because I'm going to be moving in a month and I'm not trying to disorganize everything. But they have a deluxe version that comes with a t-shirt and it comes in a big box and it's super, super cool. I highly recommend it if you can get it on like a proxy site or something because it's really, really nice. But yeah, Be My Baby. This was a good comeback. I like the clothes. I think this is probably some of the best that the Wonder Girls have looked during that period of continuous promotion because
Yeah.
they had bad looks with Irony. It was like sexy schoolgirl emo hair Wonder Girls. Then Tell Me was just like Disney Channel exclusive. Then you had Nobody, which was them with a good look, but a look that felt really weird because they were all wearing wigs.
Yeah.
And then two different tiers where they had these crazy barrel bangs and just were wearing anything that the Goodwill had on sale. And so finally you get to this video and it's like your costuming matches, your hair looks like hair that people would actually wear. Like, this is actually nice. You guys look great. And also everyone is grown at this point too. So the costuming is appropriate for everybody.
Yeah. We're in HD now too. That's nice. Can see everyone's pretty face.
Yeah, so this was definitely the height of things in terms of them looking the best.
Yeah. I think they sound really great too. I think it's some of the best that they've sounded in terms of their singles.
I do too. I think they sound really good. Well, prior to Reboot. For what they do before Reboot, this is the best that everybody sounds.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So the next song after this is my least favorite Wonder Girls song. I just don't like the way this song sounds. Again, JYP being very influenced by Beyonce writes like this. And this was during a period in time when K-pop had a lot of things that were like super tropes and memes for K-pop watchers. So one of the things that was a super meme was like certain fashion things. Lim has on this shirt with these Mickey Mouse hands over the tits.
And like the styling for this video is atrocious. She also has like the most fried and frizzy hair ever. Like someone botched that hair done so bad. Yeon and Sunyi have just like the crunchiest of bobs. It's so bad.
Yeah, this was a look. This was definitely during the Jeremy Scott tennis shoe days. And yeah, this video, and then flash mobs. No one does flash mobs anymore. This whole video is about a flash mob, a super planned flash mob, by the way. For those of you who know the couple Simon and Martina who used to do K-pop Music Mondays, they actually were out of the country and they got an invitation to be a part of this video and couldn't make it because they were out of the country. Otherwise, they would have been in the background of this video.
Listen, I get it. This is not the best Wonder Girls song by a long mile, but I would do anything to be in this video. Wonder Girls video. Is it a good song? Not really. But was I in a Wonder Girls video? Yes. And were you? You weren't. So I had to flown back to Korea.
You'd be like, how many minutes do I have? Because But yeah, it takes place at an outdoor mall and the Wonder Girls show up and start dancing, and then some trained dancers start dancing, and then the people around them start dancing. And it's a cute dance. It's a cute sentiment, but this song has so little to it that it's not enjoyable.
I can get down to it every now and then. I'm like this, like this. Like there's just like every now and then I'll get like a bit of it stuck in my head because there are hooks and they do work, but overall it falls a lot flatter. I also think they sound like this song sounds like it came out 2 years before Be My Baby.
Yeah, it may have been an older production style, even though I can definitely hear the Beyonce influence, like I said, on this one, especially, come on, baby, come on, feel it, baby, feel it. Yeah, that part. So I don't know. This is my least favorite Wonder Girls title track. Well, no, I take that back. The next song is my least favorite Wonder Girls title track.
We have to get to the next song because I wasn't sure if I should put it on, and I felt like we were talking about Like Money, which was their original English song. And I put it on because it's like, it's their first English song. We already talked about their English sort of experience. I guess we don't have to go into it. But I think the chorus is a real winner. Love me like no, I'm
So JYP decided that he thought that the way to get the Wonder Girls on in America was to go the Lady Gaga route. And he's like, I know what made Lady Gaga successful. Akon. If we could just get Akon on the track, we can make this thing work. This video is fucking garbage. Akon is garbage on this song. This song is bad. Like, oh my gosh, I feel so horrible that the Wonder Girls had to go through this.
I think the song would have been fine without Akon. No, you don't think so?
I don't like this song in any way. Love you like money, love me like cars. Girl, why are we talking R. Kelly lyrics? This is stupid.
I'm getting my life to it, guys.
Song called You Remind Me, and the lyrics are, you remind me of my Jeep. I want to ride it. Something like my sounds. I want to pump it. Girl, you look just like my car. I want to ride it. Something like my bank account. I want to spend it. Now, for those of you who don't know, R. Kelly and JYP actually have a very close relationship. And Jisoo interned for R. Kelly for years before he came back to Korea to do his debut. The lyrics of the chorus basically are JYP's interpretation of the R. Kelly lyrics. And for that reason alone, fuck this entire venture.
Well, I didn't know that, so.
You're welcome. I love ruining things for people.
Yeah, great. Now I can't listen to this one thing about R. Kelly. It's gonna suck.
You're welcome.
And you know what? It connects back to Lady Gaga again, because one of Lady Gaga's best songs is the one with R. Kelly on it.
Yes. Do what you want with my body.
That song is honestly so amazing. It is. It's just like, yeah. You know what? I can't. We'll have to do a Lady Gaga one. I'll have to pick Lady Gaga one day because I have a lot to say about art pop.
When you do Lady Gaga, we have to invite Jade.
Okay. Yeah.
Because she's a huge Lady Gaga stan.
Okay. I will tell you, my song listing will skew heavily to art pop because that's the gay fave, and I agree.
I mean, I would be surprised if you're like, it skews heavily towards Joanna. I'd be like, what?
My favorite Gaga album, Between the Cheeks with Tony Bennett.
Between the Cheeks.
Is that what it's called? Is that what it's called?
Oh my God. It can't be called that. Between the Cheeks.
No. Or cheek to cheek. Yeah, because they're dancing cheek to cheek. That album, when I worked at Barnes & Noble, that was one of the albums that they had on rotation. I did not like that. Listen, I don't put it above Gaga for naming a song called Between the Cheeks. It is something she would do. It's on brand.
Oh my gosh. They tried to kill your favorite bitch, guys.
So after that, the Wonder Girls disappeared for a while. Everyone thought they disbanded. And then they're like, just kidding. We're reviving the group. Sunmi's back. And it's a band now.
Well, Sunmi's back, but Sohee and Sunmi have left. And also, it's very bizarre. A lot of people have never leveled any kind of blame on Sohee for the breakup of the Wonder Girls, but people have been vicious to Sunyi about her leaving the Wonder Girls.
It's because she got married. People were like, "Oh, you got married?"
Yeah, like people have been like they have criticized her children, calling them ugly. They have called her husband a deadbeat. Every time she does anything on television, people are like, "Oh, you're just running back to us because you're out of money, you broke bitch." And
Right.
it's crazy because Sohee left the group before Sunyi did, and people still have a chip on their shoulder about her leaving.
It's very odd.
It
Very,
is
very.
very weird.
But yeah, so now we get the most amazing, the incredible, the Reboot album. Signed, by the way. Listen, I'm gonna be real clear. The 2015 was an amazing year for K-pop. If you were there, you know 2015 was just an incredible year for K-pop. And this was the best album. Out of the boy groups, out of the girl groups, I think this was the best album. Argue with the wall. None of this. It was the best girl group album. Fuck you. Why don't you guys say that about boy groups? Why is it whenever a boy group album is considered the best, it's just considered the best? Not the best boy group album, it's just considered the best. When a girl group album is considered the best, it's always the best girl group album. No, this was the best album. Point blank, period. Read your mama. Anyways.
Woo! I'm still trying to get over Between the Cheeks, but that was a great read.
It's the new podcast name, Between the Cheeks.
Honestly, I could see somebody coming off Drag Race and being like, my new podcast, Between the Cheeks.
Oh, yeah. Wait for Bob and Monet to rebrand.
Some people wonder what's going on under the sheets. I'm asking what's going on between the cheeks.
Damn. That was a good one. That was a good one. A great joke, even. But this is like, I mean, talk about a comeback.
This is the one. This is the one. This is the one.
It's truly aces all around. The styling, they look amazing. It's some of the best they've ever looked. It's one of the best videos they've ever done. It's one of the best singles they've put out. It's just so good. Everything about this is so good.
Yes, and as a fellow old person to JYP, there were so many parts of this video that I was like, oh, this reminds me of this reminds me of that. Like even the Wonder Girls with their guitars dancing the same movements reminds me of the Robert Palmer girls. The song itself sounds like freestyle, which was a really popular style of music in the 80s. The song that comes to mind the most when I hear this song is Point of No Return. There is a song by a group called Expose called Point of No Return. This song and that song could be cousins. Like it's just every 80s influence that I grew up with, I can hear the homage. I can hear the elements. Like this is just a really great sound. And it's beautifully colored. Like all of the hyper colors, like the neon pinks, the bright purples, the electric blues, all of that is here.
It's so good. There's truly nothing bad to say about this. I love the red leotards. That was for the lesbians. The red leotards with the guitars, yeah, it's for the lesbians.
Yeah.
This is so
Sunmi looks like sex. Sunmi looks like straight up sex.
He has one of my favorite photos in any photo book ever. Let me find it. They just look, I will say this, Sunmi in person, I had the privilege of seeing her live when she toured a few years ago. In person, I don't know how, but Sunmi is somehow prettier. And it made me like almost angry because I was like, how can you be this pretty in real life? I don't deserve to be in her presence. I think you need to be a certain level of pretty to be in front of her. If you can get a copy of this album, this is a truly fantastic photo book and a great CD.
I highly recommend.
Magazine. Yeah, this is just so good. And what I love about this album is they had done producing for their last full-length album, which was the Be My Baby title track album, The Wonder World.
Wonder World, yeah.
Every song on here is produced by the members except for the title track. And there are some really just stellar, again, it's the best album of 2015. There are some really stellar cuts on here. And I feel like it's just, as we do Reboot and as we sort of transition now into their solo work, it bothers me that one of the biggest talking points in K-pop for so many years was how a lot of boy groups were better because they were self-producing, how BTS was better when they were self-producing. Meanwhile, there are self-producing girl groups who were killing it. Sunmi self-produces her stuff. Hyuna produces her stuff. She produced a lot of 4-minute tracks too. Everyone on here has produced a hit. Yenny's produced a hit. Lim's produced a hit. Yuben's produced a hit. Sunmi's produced a hit. They've written the hits. And it just bothers me that the boy groups always get the credit for being, they're so good because they're self-producing, they're real artists. Meanwhile, it's like, fuck the ladies, am I right? And also to boot, y'all armies really dragged that point to the fucking ground only for BTS's most popular song worldwide to have 0 member participation. So eat shit. Sorry, I just like really hate that people would bring that up all the time, only for Dynamite to have no member production. And then it's finally like, oh, well, they just made excuses. Like either stick to your guns or don't. Fuck you.
Another quality read from Between the Cheeks.
Between the Cheeks is the shit I say out of my mouth.
I mean, honestly, I feel like this would, if you had a rant show called Between the Cheeks, and you're like, this is what really rubs me raw. And then you start ranting.
Listen, Sam, we've talked about starting an actual podcast where we just talk shit about whatever. Between the Cheeks is the best name.
I'm telling you, this summer it's happening.
Get ready for Between the Cheeks podcast starring Sam and Mason.
Yeah. What really chaps my hide today, guys?
I'm leaving. What are we doing here? Okay.
Okay. So After I Feel You is the last true title track that the Wonder Girls ever released, which was Why So Lonely.
Talk about a way to go out. Imagine going out on a Why So Lonely. I wish all my groups went out on a title track this good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this song was wholly a Wonder Girls production. Mm-hmm. And they actually played more instrumentation on this song than they did the other ones. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a breezy, reggae infused kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. It's basically all of these women enacting their kind of broken relationship revenge fantasies on a blow up Ken doll.
Right. And it was their first #1 since Be My Baby, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, the song very much resembles another song that was popular around the same time, Don't Be Shy. Korea was kind of primed to be into that breezy reggae sound, but like timing wise, it just came out exactly when it needed to come out.
Oh yeah. K-pop summer 2016 is like a legendary K-pop summer. Again, if you were there, you were there. Like the hits were rolling out, and this was one of the top hits. A great video. Again, it's just one of those videos where everyone just looks amazing. They just look amazing. I think it's the best that any of them have looked in a Wonder Girls video.
Huben in this video is literally a lesbian dream.
A lesbian dream. She also like sings for the first time, and she sounds really nice on this track.
Yeah, she has a husky voice, which doesn't lend itself well to JYP female focused songs. Mm-hmm. But because again, this was a group effort, she fits very well in here.
Yeah, it makes me very, very sad that Lim never did solo work or more producing work because she wrote this. She wrote a hit. Lim, where are you, girl? I know you're pregnant, but congrats. But like, I need the album, Lim. The like sultry, smoky Lim album that I see in my mind. I would love it, please.
Yeah. So this was their last title track,
Mhm.
meaning that it was attached to a project. They did release one last song for their 10th anniversary, which is the final Wonder Girl song, but it wasn't a title track because it wasn't related to any particular project. They didn't film a video for it. It just was a thing that was released. So,
Yeah. It's like it's cute that we got it, but like since we'd already had 21's Goodbye, and I think we end up getting Sistar's Lonely. It's like, as terms of disbandment tracks, those really ate. But Big Bang's got their disbandment track coming, so maybe we'll see.
yes, I also Sistar's Lonely as a disbandment track, even though it doesn't sound like other Sistar stuff, it's actually a really nice ballad.
It's a great song. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a wonderful song.
Yeah. I'm Young is also a good ending track, even though we all hate the way that it was put out because it wasn't intended to be that. It's still a really good last track.
Which one?
I'm Young by 21.
No, that was always going to be the last one, unfortunately.
I thought that I read that it was not supposed to be their final song, that it was a song written for Minzy, but then it ended up becoming their final song.
Yes, that's what happened.
Okay, because I was like,
But yeah, speaking of great songstresses, CL really can write a good song, and she can write a good ballad. How many of your faves can do that? Just saying. Sorry.
it's okay.
I'm being petty.
Chapter hide. Okay, so we've kind of gotten through most of what we wanted to talk about in terms of Wonder Girls title track. So now we're going to start delving into some solo stuff, some group lore, things, talking points, if you will. But I want to, before we get into some of that, I just want to say again, the Wonder Girls in every iteration has been K-pop excellence. Even though a lot of people don't see their American years as being examples of K-pop excellence, it cannot be understated how important this group is as solos, as as a group member, as offshoots. Everything that these girls touched meant something in K-pop. And that's the reason why to this day, if any of these song titles sound familiar, it's because they're being covered by every girl group on every show that asks for you to cover a girl group song. It's on Produce, it's on end of the year Mnet shit. It's everywhere. These are the songbook of K-pop.
Yeah, it's the staples.
Yeah.
Um, there was something you said years ago on a video that has always stuck with me, and I think about it to this day. How you wish that they had a reunion concert called the Seven Wonders, where we have all seven of the Wonder Girls come and do a concert. And I think about that all the time, and how Wonder Girls didn't have to disband. They could have kept going. They could do like a yearly project and just see what members were around. If Hyuna left Cube and the Wonder Girls was still around, they were still friends. They interact all the time on Instagram. I'm just like fantasizing about that world.
The day will come. The day will come. And I say that because, you know, varying levels of success have been had by every member of the Wonder Girls, but I think it's going to be much like SES, how after everyone hit their 40s, they decided to get back together on like Running Man or something like that. I think the day is going to come when the Seven Wonders are going to come back and they're going to do something. It's just that right now is a really tough time because everyone in the Wonder Girls is at a weird place in their personal lives. Like, so it's just, this is not good timing, but one day, once the dust has cleared, we will see them again.
I believe that too. And I'm really excited. And if they don't call the reunion album the Seven Wonders, they're fucking stupid, because that's the greatest thing ever. It's true. Like the fact that you're not a K-pop marketer is like crazy to me. Like the ideas keep coming. The amount of times that Sam and I have had conversations and things that she has said and spoken into the universe that have come true. Stalamon.
I did that. I will be, there are very few things I can take credit for in K-pop, but I manifested Stalamon.
You deserve credit for that, and Catch Shop CD should be giving you free CDs because you are the reason they became popular.
Yes, I did that too. I had my little discount code and I passed it to everybody when we all got tired of K-Town for You shit.
Mhm,
And yeah, they became the plug.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, there are a few things here and there that I would take credit for being, instrumental to. But I also, when I say my K-pop villain origin story, I totally mean that because at every turn in this adventure, K-pop has managed to break my heart in one way or another.
Mm,
Um, the reason why I'm not a K-pop marketer is not necessarily because I tried and I failed. I've never actually tried. I just have these ideas. But when it comes to who gets picked up by the community as a spearhead, I've never fit the demographic in every single way. I am Black. I am middle aged. I'm a mother. Like, I'm not who
mm,
people look at as being somebody who would know these things.
right.
And it's something that we'll talk about later because I've already told Mason I wanted to have a conversation about a musical genre, but no one's going to take somebody like me seriously because I so am not the demographic that they expect to know anything about K-pop or marketing or anything else like that. But really and truly, I am because I've
Yeah,
been a consumer of marketing for 4 decades.
right. It's very sad because your finger really is on the pulse a lot of the times.
Eh,
And,
Oh
and
well.
speaking of finger on the pulse, let's get to the first solo song. I picked a song that I it's a weird pick for this member. It's not her most popular song, but I think it is going to be the song that sounds the best decades from now. And it
It is
is,
also the song that fits the best with this particular conversation.
yes,
So very
it's
wise.
Hyunna's Babe, a song that when it came out, I hated. And Sam was like, just wait and see. I picked Babe, yeah, for the reasons that we said. I also think it's a really great Hyuna song. And I wanted to pick a song that was good, but not her most important song, because if you know me, you know that I love Hyuna. And I'm absolutely forcing Sam to do a Hyuna recording day. So somewhere down the line, I'm picking Hyuna for this topic. And I wanted to keep my options open.
That's fine as long as we never have to do that stupid song she did with Dawn. We're like, I love you,
No,
I
no,
love you,
no, no,
I
no, no,
love
no, no,
you.
no. I'm trying to pick the best shit, okay? I'm trying to pick
Okay.
the good stuff.
Because that song I still am bitter about that I had to experience.
And it's on this album. It's on the Babe album.
Yes, it is. It's the only Hannah album I own.
That's a sad
Okay.
album to own because it only has the one good song.
That is true, but it does have a very beautiful photo book.
It does. It's stunning. Um, so Babe is a really interesting song that kind of almost critiques the industry in a way of how
Mhm.
they view Hyuna and almost infantilize her and sexualize her. It was co-produced because Hyuna helped write the song by Shinsadong Tiger, who he did like all the Tiara hits, all the EXID hits. He did early Hyuna stuff like Bubble Pop. I was Bubble Pop Shinsadong Tiger. It might have been, but like if you look at his category, he's just written the hits. And the video isn't too great though.
I actually really enjoyed watching this video. I was like, this video actually works right now because the video is a very kind of like, it's all over the place for sure, but it has like these elements that are like 90s VHS elements to it,
And I
which
like
is very much the aesthetic currently.
and I love those bits, but I don't like the ending where she's like on some planet and it's overly exposed and filtered. I don't like that. I really only liked the like parts that looked like it was from the Mariah Carey fantasy video.
And then like the parts in the warehouse I thought were cool. I thought she looks amazing in this video, like
Every
hair, makeup.
mhm,
Yeah. This video was basically a love song that Hyuna wrote for Dawn.
mhm,
But the video is basically her telling whoever the audience is, assuming Don, not only how he makes her feel, but also letting him know that I've had to overcome a lot to feel this good in a relationship with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a conspiracy theory, which has not been confirmed or denied, about the reason why the video takes a very strange tone after she says, "Now I'm just 17." Because the way that the song is structured, during the kind of post chorus, she says, "Now I'm just 26, 26, now I'm just 24," and she keeps descending in age. Well, right before the bridge, the post chorus is, "Now I'm just 19, now I'm just 17." And then that's the last age that she lists. And
Mm-hmm.
then it transfers into the bridge. In the video, all of a sudden, the background gets kind of like fuzzy and you don't really hear the music. It's underground. She goes to an elevator and she looks like visibly uncomfortable and like, I don't feel good, like something's off here. And then after that, they show her kind of in space singing the bridge and everything else. The conspiracy theory that has sprung up around that portion of the video is that during that time, like pre-17, Shanna was part of the Wonder Girls and then not a part of the Wonder Girls. And I believe she debuted with 4 Minute when she was around 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the rumors that a lot of people had about the reason why Shanna wasn't a part of the Wonder Girls anymore, which I'm not saying this is true, is that they felt like she had been sexually assaulted by an older person during that time. And that her withdrawal from JYP was not because of her health reasons, but because of the fallout of this sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not saying that's true. I would never try to even guess something like that. And it feels tacky to speculate. But in this part of the video, that kind of visibly looking uncomfortable while talking about herself at an age younger than 17, it kind of lends itself to maybe her just saying, like, this was a really tough period in my life where I was my most unsure, I was the least myself, and I can't think about anything close to romance or happiness during this moment because it was such a strange and bad time for me.
Yeah. Hyunna's a really interesting figure in K-pop to talk about because her whole thing is like, it's bright, it's fun colors, it's very in your face, but there's always some really interesting meaning behind a lot of her projects. And I think that's why I would really love to do like an episode on just her, because I think there's just a lot here. Even in her most vapid projects, there's some really interesting things happening narratively and culturally to Hyuna at the time that made her release this song at this time right now.
Yeah, there's a moment at the end of the song which makes me believe like this was a love song to Dawn, where it kind of sounds like she's saying Dawn's name towards the end of the song, and then she's like, "Now I'm your baby girl, I'm your baby girl."
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like this was definitely directed towards him, but also it's just, again, I think about how it must have been for her. Let's just go back to the Wonder Girls and Hyuna as a 14-year-old girl, 14 international age, 14-year-old girl in the Wonder Girls. At this point, she has just probably been out of puberty, maybe a year or two, not very long. In the Wonder Girls, she is dressed up in tank tops, short skirts. If you look at her performance outfit for Tell Me, she's got on the shortest skirt with no leggings underneath while she's doing all the dances. They dress her to age her up. And they basically put that kind of sexual energy on her at 14. Then she leaves JYP and signs on to Cube. At 17, she again is given a persona that's a very sexy persona. It's like, you're so fine, you do the best body rolls, all this kind of stuff is happening to her. And that kind of coquettish baby voice that she uses for her rapping, I'm absolutely certain it was them saying, you're so young, but you're so hot. So let's build you a persona that leans into the fact that you're a young, hot girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine through this whole time where all of these men are making decisions about how the rest of the world can devour her, that she probably felt completely divorced from who she is as a person because no one wanted to know who Hyuna was as a person. They wanted to know who Hyuna should be presented to the public.
Right.
And I think psychologically, mentally, at that age, that's tough to deal with. How do you establish who you are when you have so many people telling you who you need to be?
Right.
And I
Uh,
think that's the reason why Dawn has been her support person for all these years.
mm-hmm. Exactly. I think that's why the song, she does the like baby voice for most of it. And then at the bridge, when everything changes, her tone gets a lot lower. And even when you're mentioning that it says like she says Dawn, I realized that in the video, it almost looks like Dawn in that moment too. Like she's standing outside at dawn, you know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, there's just a lot of interesting things happening with Hyuna, and this is a really great song. It's a really great song.
yeah. I highly recommend it. And again, it's my favorite Hyuna song outside of one song, which we will talk about when we do the Hyuna deep dive. But yeah,
Yeah,
this is probably my second favorite Hyuna song. And I think is the song in her catalog that to me has been aging the best over the last few years.
for sure, for sure. Um, so I did these in debut order of like who debuted first. So the next debut from the Wonder Girls was Sunmi.
Is that what you were doing? Because I'm like, why didn't he pick Full Moon?
I didn't pick Full Moon because Gashina is the hit.
Okay, because I'm like, Sunmi had a whole debut before this.
I mean, so did Hyuna. I mean, Hyuna's debut was 2011, I think, with Change, 2010 or 2011.
Yeah.
Um, And then Sunmi debuted next in 2013 with 24 Hours, um, which was in contention. Yeah. Sunmi herself almost warrants a whole other one, but like the last few releases, I don't want to talk about. um, which I guess we can talk about why I feel like Sunmi's fallen off a bit, but Gashina was the song. When it came out, it was everywhere. If you haven't heard Sunmi's version, it's kind of like the other Wonder Girl songs where you've seen it on Produce. It is like half the girls' audition songs. Some boys did it on Produce a few times. Like people love Gashina. And for a
Yeah,
good,
the
it's a really great song. It came
great point dance.
great point dance. It's one of those K-pop releases that just like hits the mark on what you want. Catchy song. She looks amazing. The outfits are stunning. I mean, I love even just like the beginning outfit with her like pastel striped shirt and the jeans. She looked really cute with the brown hair. My favorite outfit though is that like opaque pink plastic look with like the bondage on it.
Mhm.
I love that look. I think she looks stunning. I love her in the bathtub in a glamorous gown with napkins flying all around. There's just so many fun, weird things happening in this video. And it's when you were talking about how the Wonder Girls sound different pre and post JYP, talk about sounding different. I mean, I remember being shocked when I heard this song because Sunmi before this was doing the JYP whisper vocal. And she starts this song in a completely different vocal tone and register than you'd ever heard her before.
Yeah. Part of that is from working with Teddy, I believe, is who.
Yeah, she worked with Teddy on these.
Yeah, and so Teddy kind of has a different approach to vocals. Very much his writing is informed by Western trends. And
Mhm,
so he's probably like, that JYP voice is not trendy right now. I need you to give me something else.
mhm.
And so she gave him definitely a voice that is probably more full than what she would have given under JYP.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, but great song, great video. It was a
And
really
it's a revenge video without being like super graphic. It's a video about like how could you lose a bitch like me? That's the
right.
point of the song. Like a beautiful bitch like me, you have the audacity to lose me. Fuck's wrong with you?
It's just a great video. There's so many fun things. One of my favorite bits is right before the second chorus. It's like we're standing in a hallway, a duck rolls into frame, and then Sunmi comes out and she just starts walking towards, she starts like speed walking towards camera, and the camera's backing up, backing up. Eventually Sunmi catches up, pulls down her sunglasses, pulls down the camera to her face, and then does the something something gashina, and then the chorus break. It's just, there's so many good, well-timed bits.
Yeah, this is a great video. It's a great song. It is a very rare CD. If you have a copy of the Gashina single, I went on eBay last night to see what it's selling for. $250 before shipping.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you want to buy a copy, good fucking luck, because you're not gonna get it.
Yeah, I sold mine for quite a bit because that song is also on the Warning album, and I had bought that, and I was like, you know what? I could use an extra $150, so I sold it.
Yeah, and the Warning album right now is selling for like 70. A lot of, again, because K-pop goes out of print, a lot of stuff ends up a lot higher on the secondary market, and the Warning album is one of those ones that's getting a lot higher on the secondary market.
Yeah. So Sunmi, the reason I like kind of shaded her is I just think like she had a trilogy that culminated in the Warning album. She did Gashina, then she did Heroine, and then she did Siren. And those three songs I think are spectacular. I almost put Siren on here. I really, really wanted to talk about all of them because I think they're all excellent tracks. But after that, Sunmi kind of fell off, guys. Like Noir's a good song, the video's good, but like Sunmi's last, I think, like big hit in Korea was probably When We Disco. Why didn't I put When We Disco on here?
I was going to ask you that, but I was waiting because I'm like, we've got to be talking about this. When We Disco is a song that Sunmi did with JYP, which, of course, people who hate JYP were editing him out the video because they hate him so much. But it is a beautiful, fun, it is what Dynamite wishes it was. It is so that girl.
It's so good when we eventually do the JYP episode, because we will do one. That will be heavily discussed. But yeah, I don't know, like Sunmi's last album I really liked, but her music just doesn't have the same bite that it did. I feel like it's kind of all sounding the same.
Yeah, I think that Sunmi, while I enjoy Sunmi's musical stylings, she does not have a Taeyeon voice. And no. I think because she does not have that kind of voice, songwriting is very important for her. And I don't think that the songwriting has been as strong recently. And again, she's more of a song technician. Like she very much, if the song is written well, she finds ways to insert her voice into it to make it work. But even if you re-listen to Gashina, the song itself is really good. Her voice is weird. She gives a very odd kind of flat vocal performance for this song.
Yeah, she does interesting things with her voice in her new music. And I think it's become a bit stale almost. Like I feel like she needs to reinvent what Sunmi is as a singer.
Yeah, push her limits, extend your range, maybe try some different, vocal techniques. But yeah, very much she's a song stylist. And when you're a song stylist, sometimes if the song is not up to par, you're not going to get your best performance. She's very much like Madonna in that manner.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Still some great stuff.
I loved this next selection. I had never watched this video because I gave up on this person a while back. I thought you were going to pick their other video, Nobody, but you picked this one.
No, I picked the good song.
Nobody is a good song. It's just a weird video.
It's a good song, but I think this is better.
Okay.
So it's Yenny, or as she likes to go, Hatfelt choices for her solo work. And I picked the song Life Sucks off of her most recent full-length album.
I would never listen to this song on a regular basis. It's a good song. It's a good song. beautiful gowns. But anyone who knows me knows I don't like to listen to shit that's depressing because it makes me feel depressed. So I usually tend to go towards a more upbeat, energetic sound.
Right.
But I love tea. And this song is tea. And so I was living the whole time I was listening to this song.
She is fully slandering her own father, and I'm living.
As she should. He's a rapist. Fuck him.
Yeah, he sucks. He sucks big time. But yeah, it's actually all in English. It's just about how her dad contacted her after like abandoning her, basically hitting her up for money, and she's like, "Fuck you." It's a very angsty song. I feel like Olivia Rodrigo stans might enjoy this song. If you like a good brutal, a good for you, it's a similar angsty vibe. Not necessarily the same song, but you know, it's for the
Or
sad.
if you were raised by a narcissist and you've had to go no contact with your family, this is a great song for you.
Yeah. The video is pretty simple. It's her in a room with all these writings on it, newspaper clippings, and then at the end, blood gets spilled on her. Carrie style.
Yan is one of the most interesting looking people in K-pop. Like her face is a face that has not had significant touches of plastic surgery. And so it's not that her face is ugly. I would never say that, but her face does not look like your typical K-pop face. But she's gorgeous anyway. And it's because her face is so interesting. And she's got the kind of face that she virtually looks the same today as she did when she debuted.
Yeah.
Like her face is just, it's very distinct. And in this song, she's pulling a very straight, serious face throughout this whole thing. She's giving off very witchy vibes almost. Like, you know, I'm willing to burn this whole house down with all of us in it just so that you die. And so I really enjoyed that. But like the story of why she had to make this song is such an awful story. And I think that for people who have had bad family relationships, I think they could get a lot of solace and comfort out of this. So Yenny, I'm going to call it Yenny because I just like that name better than any of the other ones. Yenny, her parents divorced when she was 12 because her father cheated on her mother. And so they split. This would be around the same time that she's starting to begin trainee work with JYP. And she went throughout her life without really having her father in her life full time. Her father remarried about 3 years after her parents divorced. Her father became a pastor of a big church and he went on with his life. And once she became famous, her father kind of started getting back in touch with her. But throughout their relationship, it was constantly like she would try to make things work for him, but he would just be his completely narcissistic asshole self. So she would have to continuously engage, disengage, engage, disengage. At one point, he comes to her and says, I'd like to start an entertainment company. Can you introduce me to some producers? She's like, yeah, I can introduce you to some people if that's what you're wanting to do, but this ain't got shit to do with me because you know how we are. So she introduces him to a producer, and then later on down the line, her father and her get sued for fraud. Her father, through his church, manages to con 150 people out of $17.4 million. Not one, doll hairs. And she's implicated because of the meeting she facilitated between her father and this producer. And so this was right when she was leaving JYP, first got signed to Amoeba Culture, trying to start her solo world over again. And people are like, oh, you're defrauding people? Also, it comes out that her father had sexually assaulted a lady in her mid-20s. So somebody around his daughter's age. That's gross. And she has to basically get out there and let people know, like, my father and I don't have a relationship. I would never help him with fraud because we're not even close like that. He's always been a fuck up. He's always been this kind of person. And I'm fully cooperating with the police because I can prove I had shit to do with this. Check my phone record, check my emails, talk to the people around me. Like, yeah, I live an idle life, but I'm not living a $17.4 million life at all. I make enough money to be able to continue to pursue my musical interests, but that's it. And it leans very closely into something that has been a problem in the entertainment industry since the beginning of time. And it's these relationships between these parents and these children, where early on in these children's lives, their parents took a less than parental role.
Right.
And so you see this with Guhara, her mother, who left her when she was very young and came back and was like, I heard there was some money to be had, y'all.
Mm-hmm. A despicable woman.
Absolutely despicable. You even see this, and we don't ever talk about this amongst the fandom, but no one knows who Jongyun's father is. He's never talked about. People always talk about his mother. They always talk about his sister. They never talk about his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And Jongyun, even when he was alive, he talked about how at one point, him, his sister, and his mother lived in a tent on a mountain. Where the fuck was his dad?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot to be said for these weird parental child relationships. Once a child is technically in the power position financially, but the parents are still in a power position societally.
Right.
The way they really take advantage of these relationships. Even Sully's mother, after Sully passed away, they did a documentary about Sully and her relationships with people. And they had a section about her relationship with Choiza. And her mom made it seem like it was Choiza's fault that her daughter decided not to live anymore. What she failed to talk about is how she basically sold Sully to the SM Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though her and her daughter were close, a lot of it was her encouraging her daughter to continue to put up with things because her daughter's career was financing the family's life.
Mm-hmm. It's giving
So
motto.
yeah, so it is very interesting that Yenny would be the one to lay it out on the line. And I think in a lot of ways, she gave a lot of catharsis, not just to regular people who have no contact with their family, but to a lot of these idols who want to say the same thing about their family. Hell, Ita from Super Junior, if anyone wanted to tell the story of how families will abuse your kindness, that is the one. His father basically told him very early on, you're extremely ugly. It doesn't matter how talented you are one of the ugliest people I've ever seen, and you're a loser, and that's the reason why you're not good for anything. And then continue to beat him throughout his childhood. He finally goes on to be the leader of Super Junior. He's doing well, making money, and he's got these grandparents, his father's parents, that he's sending money to have them taken care of. And his father's like, listen, loser, instead of paying an outsider to take care of them, pay me. I'm good at this kind of shit. You're not. And you owe me anyway because my nut made your existence.
Mm-hmm.
So he's funneling money towards his dad, one, to kind of keep his dad away from him, but two, he's like, I'm trying to be filial here. While he's in the military, I don't know if the funds dried up or something else happened. While he's in the military, his dad kills both of his grandparents and then himself.
Why did I not know this?
Yeah. And so Ituk has to leave the military for a week in order to bury his father's family, basically. And so Ituk, prior to the three big losses we had in K-pop, he talked about how he had like the Milk Society, where he and other depressed stars would get together and talk about like what was going on with their life, because while we're all observing this from the outside,
Mm-hmm.
he's still having to be the leader of Super Junior. He's still having to be a K-pop idol. So none of the feelings that he has about the situation can be brought out for people to see.
Right.
And so he was like, I can't be the only one feeling this way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why he started this. And I think Taeyeon's a member. I think Jonghyun might have been a member. There's a few other idols that are members. But yeah, like in that life, the only people who were looking out for these idols were themselves, no one else.
Especially in second gen. Because honestly, once Jonghyun passed, things truly did get better for idols. Like the fact that multiple members of Twice can take long leaves of absences is unheard of in K-pop.
they can date now. That used to
Mhm.
never be a thing. They
Yeah.
can plead mental exhaustion. They can plead, you know, physical
Mhm.
ailments. They can talk back to the press and say, this is false. You
Yeah.
know, companies are actually trying to protect their idols now, but it took three different people losing their lives
Yeah.
for us to get to this point. And they're not even the first in K-pop. There is a group called SG Wannabe,
Hmm.
and one of their, it's only three guys, and one of their leads decided to end his life because of the stresses of K-pop.
Hmm.
And nothing changed for him. And he was part of first gen.
Right.
So, I mean, it just really is awful that it takes utter tragedy to get to these periods and these places. But I'm so glad people like Hotfelt are releasing music that addresses the thing that nobody talks about, the ghost in the room.
Right. As they should. And every K-pop idol needs to be in therapy. Every single one should have a therapist. That's my hope.
It's not natural to live that life. That is not a natural state of
Right?
being for human
Yeah.
beings. You need therapy.
Yeah. Um, all right. So let's move on to the next debut. I picked two songs for this person because I picked the list and fuck you, I did what I
I
wanted.
was gonna say, why two here?
Because I think both are really, really good songs and I would like to spread the gospel.
Yes. Lady
By
is
Huben.
Yes, Lady by Huben is an ode to city pop.
Mhm.
During a time when city pop was not really a genre that a lot of people were considering for K-pop.
No, it was a genre that was popular online because of Plastic Love and a lot of anime fans. But in terms of K-pop, we weren't really seeing it. And now we're seeing it a lot. I mean, Twice has city pop B-sides. I mean, city pop is kind of here in K-pop now. On the new From Us 9 album, there's a city pop sounding song. And honestly, the inception was Yuben, because while it wasn't a huge hit in Korea, K-pop fans liked it. And studios took note that we enjoyed this. And that's why Miss Yukika is here.
Yes. I thought that the video for Lady, while it had really good graphics that recall city pop, I wish that it had stronger choreography. And I get why it didn't have stronger choreography is because of the type of song it was. But I feel like if that's the case, there should have been no choreography because the choreography is just kind of her like shaking her hips a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you can give me a little bit more, Yuben. Come on, give me a little
Yeah,
bit
I
more.
think they could have given a little bit more, but I do ultimately very much enjoy the video. They really hit the nail on the head in every way. I mean, when JYP does retro, you know they're gonna get it right.
Yeah.
Um, and I've always been bummed because there was supposed to be a B-side to this, but that B-side must have been the most plagiarized song ever because it was accused of plagiarism before it even came out, and JYP just canceled the song. And I'm
I
like,
mean, I can believe it. I talked about how Tell Me and Two Different Tears sound like Two of Hearts by CCQ. I
right,
talked about how even I Feel You sounds like Expose's Point of No Return. I feel like sometimes JYP is not as careful with his influences as he needs to be. And he gets a little bit too close to the source material without actually asking for permission.
yeah. I don't actually think it was a song JYP wrote, but as a company, that was an oversight for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
there was no B-side. But I remember when Yuben was gonna debut, I was really excited, but also nervous because I love Yuben. I think she's gorgeous. I like her a lot. Um, as a soloist, I wasn't sure how that was gonna work out for her.
Well, she was marketed as a rapper. She even did a season of
Right.
Unpretty Rap Star. So I think we
Right.
were all like, is it going to be a rap song?
Yeah, but the fact that she went with this is gonna sound really shady to the wonderful women of city pop, but it kind of needs to be said. It city pop is a genre for girls who don't know how to sing well. Does that make sense?
Say it louder for the ones in the back.
You know, like Taeyeon has a city pop song that she did, and I love Taeyeon, but I'm not here for the girls that can belt. You know, this was a great move for Yuben. excellent choice for her.
Yes. And then you picked another song, which I enjoyed that song for an entirely different reason than I think that you did.
Oh, I loved it. I just think it has a great chorus. I love the whistle in the chorus. I love how fucking over it and sassy the song is. It's just, thank you so much. Like, she just hates this man, and I love it.
Yes. I like this song. Again, you've been doing it for the girls. Very obvious in these songs that this is she lives in worlds where men don't really exist.
Mhm.
But what I liked about this song, I like how it was very disco influenced. I love the fact that in this song she is voguing and whacking.
Oh yeah, the chorus is the whacking. I was
Yeah,
super into it.
like, wow, girl, because like I haven't seen anybody incorporate this much like ballroom dance
Mm-hmm.
until Sulgi and Irene did their project.
Right. And this came out before. I'm telling you, this was like, this song, if it came out today, would have been probably done much better.
Yeah.
That like blinding lights kind of vibe.
Yes. I think so too. Definitely ahead of its time. And the songs that are ahead of its time get forgotten in time, which really sucks. I mean, we had the same conversation with FX with
Mhm.
Free Somebody. Ahead of its time, so it's been forgotten in its time.
And that's why I wanted to put it on here, because I love the video. I think all the outfits are great. There's a lot of, Huben in this video, particularly her face, when they talk about like K-pop and like the facial expressions, she should be studied for this video. There's just some really great, subtle and impactful, like little like glances and looks, a sneer, a smirk, that she just hits every single facial expression. And that really is probably her best talent, is that she just looks amazing on camera.
Yeah, she's gorgeous, and I wish her and whoever her girl is the best of luck. I hope things go well for y'all. We're all jealous.
I love how you're talking about lesbians constantly wearing the lesbian flag.
Okay, I got this shirt from Old Navy, and I did not realize that that's what it is. But you know, I am in solidarity with all of the communities for which I am an ally.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally lesbian flag color.
I didn't know, but you know,
Now you know.
yeah,
um,
I had no idea.
yeah.
Okay, so the next song you picked, I don't know why the fuck you picked it, but I endured the listen.
This song, it's the first song on the Wonder World album. A great album. This song is great. I picked the live performance. It is so busted. It's super busted. I love the Wonder Girls, but live performers, they were not. It's me in. It's like a
Yes,
soccer song. Boy, you want na 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 na. Don't you want na 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 na? It's catchy. It's a good song, but the video is truly awful.
I will give credit to the stylist. I think that the stylist for the stage performance did a very good job.
Mhm.
Black is a classic color, so yay. It goes with the theme of it being a rock song. Um, if JYP expected us to believe that the Wonder Girls were playing instruments for Reboot, they should have never had them pick up guitars for this performance, because no, absolutely not.
It's truly like a nightmare of a performance. Honestly, like the singing's bad, the dancing's bad, the instruments are bad.
It is hot as a dumpster fire, and I understand, like, I understand certain performances have to be talked about because of their notoriety rather than because of the song or even the performance. But yeah, this was tough.
Yeah, I picked this mostly for the song because this is a fan favorite B-side,
uh,
but it's not my fault that they couldn't perform it live, you know?
it's
It's- all right, let's move on. It was sad. Let's move on to a
okay.
great song, the opening to Reboot, Baby Don't Play. It's my favorite.
Baby, don't play.
Eh, eh, eh. Don't play. This really, if you were gonna pick any other song on that album to be the title track, I think I would have picked this.
This is a great song. Out of a bunch of great songs, it reminds me kind of the Jane Child song "Don't Want to Fall in Love" because it has kind of a pre New Jack Swing kind of sound to it. Still very 80s though, and I think that this song, everyone sounds really good on it. That is one thing about as the Wonder Girls matured and they kind of moved away from JYP signature vocal techniques, they found a way to kind of puzzle piece themselves together, utilizing everyone's best aspects of their voice and their ability to perform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really leaned heavy into everyone's strongest suits, and that's why the song plays really well. Um, it just has like, I mean, it's also the album opener, and what a way to start the album. I mean, even the first few beats, you're like, oh, I'm in the 80s. This is gonna be a ride.
Yes, and it's great too because if you are a person who happens to be lucky enough to have the physical version, it's such an immersive experience to open this album with these 80s inspired looks. And then the first beat is like 80s techno pop kind of sound. And you're just like, wow, I really feel taken back. And I know that that kind of nostalgia is not something that someone born in the 90s would necessarily feel, but for someone born when I was born who lived through a lot of the 80s, it definitely takes you back to a time and place. And it's always nice when you have that experience and it's well done.
Mm-hmm. And
Like
this
there's only one other project that I could think of that does that as good as this, and that's one of one by Shiny.
oh yeah, true.
Hmm.
And Baby Don't Play, as I said before, this album had a lot of member production. This was one of Yeon's contributions to the album. And now we move on to one of Sunmi's contributions to the album, which is Rewind, one of the ballads on this album.
Yes.
I really like this song. I don't know how I feel about this choreo, but
I like the arm saying rewind because if you're familiar with cassette tapes, they have ribbon, and to rewind it, you have to spin the dial for the ribbon to retract. So I thought that was kind of interesting because it kind of reminds you of the tape on the tape player. Yeah.
I really enjoy this song. I think if you want like a softer Wonder Girls song, this is a great track to listen to.
Yeah, Rewind is really good. Also, Candle from the Reboot
Yeah.
album is one of my favorite songs. I really recommend that one. I would like to know how much money Mnet has spent on clear chairs over the years because that same round-backed clear chair has been at the music shows for at least 15 years.
They have it on standby.
Yeah, I think they must have a warehouse full of them because I've seen them a lot.
Mnet has the clear chairs. Inkigayo has tasty sandwiches.
Yeah, hoes in this house. And then the last song that you picked was To the Beautiful You, which I was listening to this and I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but when I was listening to it, I'm like, this kind of almost sounds like a little bit psychedelic. Like it kind of reminds me of Prince during his Raspberry Beret phase.
Yes, it's a great medicated song, which is about
Of the two of us in the room, you would know.
I really love this song. I remember being really surprised when I first heard it because I feel like I'd never really heard a Wonder Girls song like this before. It fits the 60s aesthetic of the Why So Lonely album. This is one of this song actually has a physical release, and it is one of the lost treasures of K-pop that I am forever sad that I never got a hold of, because they printed like before Why So Lonely came out, they did a promotion at like some festival where they had a booth and they sold like a couple thousand copies of just To the Beautiful You on vinyl. Had a very lovely cover on vinyl, and it's just To the Beautiful You. And I've never been able to get a hold of it. I've never even seen it on sale anywhere. But thankfully, some very nice person when this bought it and uploaded the song to YouTube. So I had this song on repeat before Why So Lonely came out.
Yeah, it's definitely something you will never see, but I'm glad that you got a chance to experience it.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the song. I think it pairs so greatly with Why So Lonely. It's like Shot Chaser, and I love that.
Yeah, and I think that overall, seeing what the Wonder Girls are capable of doing when they're on their own, and some of the stuff that doesn't get as promoted for the Wonder Girls, it's very obvious that these were a talented group of women, girls bred into women, and I'm just very proud of their legacy. I feel like their legacy in terms of being a group is super solid. Like there's been messiness when it comes to groups. Like people aren't always too keen about the way that the Minzy situation went down with 2NE1. People still talk about the Jessica situation with SNSD. But even with Sohee and Sunyi and Hyuna and Sunmi all leaving the group, it was never as messy because I kind of feel like people understood, especially with JYP's label, that if you don't want to be here, you ain't got to be here. And JYP was really good about that. And I think that's something that people really don't understand. With Jessica, she wanted to stay with SNSD. With Minji, she just wanted a more fair contract and like actual promises about her future. But when it came to like these other girls, Hyuna, if the worst is not true, she left to protect her health. If Sohee had just done Train to Busan, why the fuck would you sign up to be a Wonder Girl again when you got an acting career in front of you? Sunny's like, I would like to experience life as not a celebrity. I'm getting married and having some kids and going around the world doing missionary work. Like, it was never something like, I'm going to leave here and become the biggest star. Even Sunmi, when she left the Wonder Girls, she was still on JYP releasing Full Moon in 24 hours. So it's just, it feels like their story as a group is a very different story. And I really appreciate that.
And I think that's why if they did ever decide to reunite, I think people would like it. I think it could do really well,
Yeah, even the contentious groups, people still kind of want to see them reunite. Like, we're not turning down a foursome 2NE1 reunion. Nobody's doing
no, I'll take it tomorrow,
Yeah, but like with them, it just feels like there's no smoke here. It's just, people living their lives.
We really almost had a foursome 2NE1 reunion because Let It on CL's new album is a 2NE1 song that she wrote for them. And there's a recording in one of her live streams where she played Bomb and Dara's parts, but for whatever reason, Minzy never got on the track. So that's why she did it as a solo version, which like, Minzy, what do you have going on that you couldn't go in the studio for a couple hours and lay down a few lines of this song?
She has a musical coming up. She did a really horrible live stage with Hyunsung. She's just got like loser activities to do, and they keep her extremely occupied. That performance with her and Hyunsung pissed me the fuck off. I'm like, oh my gosh. Minji, let me talk to you real quick, girl. I want to talk to you for serial. I need you to listen with both of your ears and keep your mouth completely shut. I know it's hard because you breathe out your mouth, but you need to listen. Whatever advice your family is giving you about your career and about what you're capable of and what you can do, I appreciate that they had enough faith in you to get you away from a toxic situation at YG. But that's where their involvement in your career needs to begin and fucking end. You need to get away from any advice that they have for you because they're not doing you any good. You've gone from shit show to shit show to shit show, and you need to humble yourself, get rid of some of your pride, and find someone to really give you direction because you have been directionless for far too long. When we see you in public now, we don't know who the fuck you are. You don't have a distinctive look. You don't have a distinctive sound. You're not even consistent. This last video you did with you and the other two black girls dancing, like, I could see your bra strap and it didn't even look like it was purposeful. It just like you had a ill-fitting outfit on. What's going on, my girl? Who's telling you that these are the ways that you need to do things? Whoever they are, fire them. Fire them. Figure out who you are for real. Get with some real professionals. What little money you have left from 2NE1, throw it at a songwriter who can actually do something. But don't keep doing this, because this that you're doing now is completely unproductive and you're really ruining something. We all came out the gate rooting for you, hoping this thing would work out for you. And you have disappointed time and time and time and time and time again. And at this point, you have to be asking yourself, was it YG or is it me? It's beginning like it's you. Like maybe the reason why he didn't see it for you and solos and shit like that is because it's you. And maybe you're one of those people in K-pop that does best in a group setting. And that's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard reality to face. But after seeing that stage with you and Youngsung, that's the same for both of y'all. Y'all are both people who need to be in fucking groups.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I guess to bring it back to the Wonder Girls, there's one more thing I really wanted to talk about super quickly. Sun Yi recently did a project group where we finally got to hear her sing for the first time in years. And she was on a TV show that had that were K-pop idols that are now mothers. So it was
Mama doll.
Yeah, it was her, Kahi, Byul, oh my God, who am I forgetting?
I don't recall because the most popular people were already mentioned.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of the Sun Yi show, honestly. But the song, if you haven't heard it, it's called Woo Ah Hip. Just type in Mama Doll. It's a really good tune. It was written by the producers of like Mamamoo's title tracks, and it definitely has some of even like the vocal stylings of that at times, which I have to say, fellas, where was this song? Because Mamamoo is out here like floundering with their last few singles. This song is a hit. This is a good song. Where, I don't know. If Red Velvet can do Bad Boy and Really Bad Boy, Mamamoo can have Hip and Ooh Ah Hip. It's fine. I'll forgive it. But it's a great song. The dancing is great. If you just want like a really good catchy tune, check it out.
Kahi looks amazing. Like everyone else has aged at least 10 years. She looks like she just stopped being an idol last week.
Yeah. It's crazy that any of them have kids.
That she has two. She has two big old boys. Like her babies are big babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're done talking about the Wonder Girls. So now we're going to talk about the thing that I told Mason I wanted to talk about in our DMs. While we were going through the music, I was thinking about city pop. And I had this discussion with Mason and I think maybe even Alex too. I think we talked about it after we taped the Mariah Carey show, but I was like, I don't understand what city pop is. Like, I feel like I don't have a handle of it because over the years, Mason being the one person in my life who pays a lot of attention to city pop, whenever K-pop would try to do city pop songs, he'd be like, this is not really city pop. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what is city pop? And so I was really having a hard time with the definition, especially because a lot of people equate city pop to being 80s. But keep in mind, the 80s was a 10-year period. The 80s were right after 1979 and right before 1990. So, like, saying 80s doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't mean dead center.
It means that there's city pop definitely has 70s, 80s, and 90s influence.
Yeah, so going through it, I'm like, okay, what is city pop? So while trying to figure out what city pop was, I was like, okay, I think this song kind of sounds like city pop. And I had sent Mason a song by Evelyn Champagne King called Love Come Down. And when I was listening to the song, I was like, this to me sounds like city pop because when I think of city pop, I've been trying to think about it in terms of the way it looks. And I'm like, this sounds like a song that someone in a Ferrari riding along a highway near the ocean would be listening to. Maybe that's city pop. And when Mason heard it, he's like, yeah, there's some elements here, but this isn't really city pop. So then I was like, okay, let me scale it back a little bit more. I've been listening to that Mayo Naka no Door, and I'm like, okay, it kind of reminds me of yacht rock a little bit. So what's a yacht rock song that to me sounds very similar to city pop? And I was thinking, there's this one Michael Jackson song that is a yacht rock song, and that song reminds me of city pop. So when I typed it in, I happened to notice that there was a cover of that same song by a Japanese artist. So I sent that to Mason. I'm like, is this city pop? Because it's literally a cover of this song that I know. I didn't tell him it was a cover. I just said, is this city pop? He's like, yeah, this is city pop. I'm like, okay, then I really am confused because this is a cover of a song I have literally been hearing my entire life. Off the Wall came out a few months before I was born. I've been listening to the Off the Wall album by Michael Jackson since infancy. And so I'm like, okay, why can't I nail down city pop if this song is not city pop? And one of the things that Mason said really made a lot of sense. He's like, it's something about the production and about some of the sounds used in the Japanese version that are not the same. That's what makes it city pop.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been really thinking about it and really thinking about it. And I'm like, I think I get what it is. And my hypothesis / hot take is this. I think part of the reason why city pop has become so popular and kind of undefinable over the years is because in order to define city pop, you have to say something that nobody wants to say. And that's that city pop is basically a lot of early 80s, 90s R&B music that has been essentially whitewashed in a way. Like it takes out the funk elements of a lot of that music. It takes away a lot of the production elements of a lot of that music. A lot of the bass is very different in city pop, but it's basically kind of early R&B music, but made to where it's a lot more palatable because it's a lot less complex. It has a lot less production to it. It has a lot less vocal technical aspects to it.
Mm-hmm.
And something that Mason said earlier when we were talking about Huben, where he's like, city pop is a great genre for the girls who can't sing. I would never say that the girls who are the most famous for city pop cannot sing. Like Plastic Love, obviously that lady can sing. But I do think it doesn't require a large voice to sing city pop.
Yeah, I think the thinner the voice, the better.
Right. And I think that speaks to why city pop was the new discovery a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started hearing about city pop, it was mostly in like weeaboo, Koreaboo circles. People who consumed a lot of Japanese content were like, oh, when I'm watching this old manga or this old anime, there's this song for this show. And it got me down this rabbit hole. And I started hearing all these different artists from that time. Because a lot of like 80s and 90s anime has this kind of sound for some of the soundtracks and titles and stuff like that. And so these Westerners that were consuming Japanese music who grew up in households that never listened to the Michael Jackson Off the Wall album or listened to Evelyn Champagne King were like, I'm hearing a style of music I've never heard before. And this is my first introduction to it. So this is new music. It's not even called city pop in Japan. It's called new music. And so they're listening to it and they're like, we have discovered something new. And it's something elusive and undefinable. But really, if we were to take that music and take certain elements of it and say, what musical cousins are the most related to this music? It's very clear the Japanese artists who were making this music during the 80s were listening to what was on the radio in the 80s, and they were listening to Michael Jackson and Evelyn Champagne King and a lot of these other Black artists that were making this kind of music. They were listening to yacht rock. They were listening to the Doobie Brothers. They were listening to Kenny Loggins, Steely Dan. They were listening to Christopher Cross and Toto. And it just, again, it's a co-opt that happens so much and makes it so uncomfortable to be a Black fan in these spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And this has nothing to do with Mason because Mason is more than understanding. Like, honestly, I would not have these conversations with any other white person but him. But a lot of times when you are trying to consume K-pop, J-pop, a lot of these things, and you're in spaces with non-native speakers, you're mostly in white spaces. Mm-hmm. And the minute you say, this sounds like this black thing. It's no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's something else. Well, tell me how it differs. I can't really tell you how it differs. It's just this thing. It's a je ne sais quoi. Can't be explained. And then you feel like, am I crazy? Am I being gaslit right now? Because I feel like I know where this comes from. I feel like I have a link to this. Like I have a real and direct link to this, different than you have because you're consuming it 20 or 30 years later and then assigning it a value. But it is overall indicative of how, again, people assuming they discovered something that's always been there, but two, the idea that something doesn't exist until it's been given a white definition and that they own the definition of that thing once they discover it. And it not only happens to people of color, it doesn't just happen to, you know, Black people, it doesn't just happen to Japanese or Korean people. It happens to all marginalized people. Like I had a follow-up discussion with Mason about this. One of my favorite artists of all time is the artist Robin. I've been listening to Robin since she debuted. The first song I ever heard from Robin was a song called Do You Know What It Takes? And she was 14 years old with a bob haircut, singing in her best Black girl voice. She was pink before pink was pink. And I remember being like, I love this girl. I will follow her to the ends of the earth. She took a bit of a hiatus. And then when she came back with Body Talk, which is one of the best dance albums, period. Just period.
Great.
And there is a song on that album called Dancing on My Own. And it is a gay anthem.
Yeah. I was at karaoke. Speaking, side conjecture, I was at karaoke back in December with a friend, my friend Jeff, and he's also gay. And he put on Call Your Girlfriend and Dancing on My Own. He's like, Mason, you know these, come on up. And I was like, yeah. He's like, you're gay, you know these. And I was like, you're right.
I mean, it's not even just the sound. Like the sound is very steeped in house dance music, which is a gay art form. Let's be very clear. House and dance and disco all originated in gay clubs. It was taking R&B albums and switching up the BPMs and doing remixing and making music for these spaces, because gay spaces and POC spaces have been very closely intertwined as well. But yeah, it comes from a history of house, dance, disco music, that song, but also the lyrics. You know, I'm in the corner watching you kiss her. If a man sang that song with no lyrical changes, do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a man watching his closeted love interest basically act like he doesn't exist. If you listen to Call Your Girlfriend, it sounds like a guy saying, I finally come to terms with who I am. I'm coming out. And his partner saying, call your girlfriend. It's time you had the talk. Give her your reasons. Say it's not her fault. You just met somebody new. And so excellent songs, excellent album, excellent music, everything par excellence.
Gorgeous gowns.
Tell me why the most popular version of Dancing on My Own on YouTube has quadruple the amount of views that Robin's song has, and it is a straight ballad by Calum Scott. I'm in the corner watching you kiss him. Oh,
it's not good.
You don't get it. And that's the thing. The reason why the cover is so bad is not because he's a bad singer. It's not because he changed the lyrics significantly. The reason why the cover is so bad is because he doesn't get it. Something is lost. He took that song and he lost what made it magic.
It reminds me, so on this current season of Drag Race, there was a cis heterosexual male contestant, the first one on Drag Race history. And and actually I really like Maddie Morphosis. It was really funny on the show. But there was definitely a disconnect between Maddie and the other girls because when Maddie walked the runway, she walked it like a straight man. And Rue was like, Maddie, you need to walk out there like you have a pussy and it's on fire. And she just like didn't get it. And I think it's just like being straight, she just didn't get how to be gay on the runway and dip
Yeah.
into that feminine side.
On this current season of Drag Race, there have been 4 trans contestants.
4. That's a lot for Drag Race.
It is. It's a lot in general. It's a lot. But there's been 4 trans contestants, and not for nothing, women, marginalized communities, gay men, trans people, marginalized communities. A lot of the time, marginalized communities come together and they make disco. Prelude. So it is hard for a straight man outside of the culture, white, cishet man, to understand when you say you've got to walk like your pussy's on fire. He'd be like, but I have a dick. Like,
Yeah,
instead of understanding the assignment, it's explaining why the assignment doesn't work for them.
Yeah. And that's kind of what got us sent home.
Yeah. And so, like, there was the J-Lo challenge where Maddie walked in the white outfit that J-Lo wore to the inauguration. Maddie walked the runway like he was in the military.
Yeah.
And it's just like, girl, come on.
Drag. This is drag. You have to zhuzh it up.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where there's certain elements that once you remove them, it may seem the same, but it's not. And I think we need to acknowledge where things come from and not make it seem like this new form is the form. Because it does a disservice to the people that are the originators, much like in drag. Drag came out of the community that said, the only way I can express who I truly am during a time when being trans was virtually unspoken, it was just, you wouldn't dare. It's like, well, I can live my female fantasy in drag on the stage. And for a cishet man who's never had to go through the trauma of having to hide, has never gone through the mental gymnastics you have to make to even try to figure out how to explain who you are to people around you and why you do the thing you do, I just think it's not that he doesn't belong on the show, it's that he was never going to win because he was never going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why Maddie did better in comedy challenges because Maddie's funny. So
yeah, Maddie's got a great TikTok.
Be funny, yeah. And this isn't to slander Maddie. It's just like you watch Maddie walk down the runway, and then you watch Georges walk down the runway. Georges's runway walk is one of my favorites of all time. The way she like hits that pose when she gets there, pumps her hips, and stomps off. It is so good.
Yeah, too bad she didn't know what chaps are.
She didn't, but you know what? I didn't care that she didn't know what chaps are because I thought Georges just was so breathtaking last night.
What the fuck was that outfit? Like, I kept looking at him like, pantyhose that have a black print about halfway down the ass with a pair of nude illusion panties over the pantyhose? What the fuck is this?
Georges dresses like she is the most glamorous stripper to have ever lived, and I love it. Everything Georges has worn, I've been like, slay. I love
Georges literally dresses like, I'm a girl. What am I doing here with these men? I'm a girl. You know?
I love this.
She's like, I'm giving you mall realness. Like, I am cunt. What are you talking about?
It looks better than the mall. Jujubee's giving mall realness.
Okay, Jujubee, let's have a talk too. Jujubee, I get that you're tired. I get that the fact that there's no money involved with this pisses you the fuck off. But you know what? You didn't have to do this. You did not have to do this. So really the onus is on you. Is this what you want people to expect when they come to a show to see you? Because the only fucking reason to do UK versus the world is to promote your next show. That's really the only reason to do this. You're going to take all the costumes you wore here, you're going to wear them to the next club excursion, bar performance, con that you go to. That's what you're going to do with this. So do you really want people to believe that if they come to a GGB show, it's going to be lazy boots? Is that what you want them to understand about you? Because that's what they're getting.
Yeah. It's
especially after your all-star turn. You did so good with all-star, and then this is what you come back with.
You almost won. I mean, Shay was by far the fan favorite. People were like, listen, we love Shay, but if they gave it to Jujubee, I don't think people would have been mad.
That Snatch Game?
A sensible 74. Jujubee's great. I at least hope she redeems herself on Tuesday with the Snatch Game on UK versus the world. I'm shaking, quivering, and crossing fingers and toes that Pangina can make it out okay alive of the Snatch Game, because my girl Pangina has been demolishing the competition. Like, it's almost not even fair.
Listen, Thai, there's a different standard in Thai when it comes to the ladyboy scene and being a performer on the ladyboy scene. And that's the reason why Pangina feels like she's an alien compared to everyone else on this show, because the amount of talent you have to stand out in Thailand is not to be, you can't believe it. The girls here can never.
That's why people always say, if you've seen Drag Race Thailand, you know, oh, they're pissing on the American girls. Drag Race Thailand is crazy good, and they look sickening every time.
Yeah, like they had one, I think the first, was it the first season of Drag Race Thailand, where they were like, everyone has to come out with like triple reveals.
Yeah. 3 reveals. And then they did it on All Stars 5, and it was like, all right, this didn't work out, guys.
So yeah, it's just the level that every market is different, but in Thailand, where there's so many gorgeous, gorgeous girls, you have to be more than gorgeous to make it work. You have to basically be able to do a handstand with just the top of your head touching the ground. So
yeah,
I hope it works out. But I have faith in Pangina. If nothing else, like people have been saying online, they got to do another season of Drag Race Thailand, but they've got to basically make it to where it's broadcast here in the States.
It'll never be broadcast in the States like on TV, but it is on Wow Presents Plus, which is where UK and Canada are, which people are always watching. So yeah. I think, and they are doing a season 3. It did get confirmed. It is happening, and I'm very excited because both Pangina and Art Aria are really amazing drag queens who you should all follow on Instagram. I know we don't do Instagrams of the day on these, but you should follow them. They're both fantastic. And Pangina, I'm telling you, it's like the winner is there, and then there's like the other girls. And Juju.
Yeah, people were mad that Jimbo got sent home, and they're like, "Oh, Pangina, you're ruining this. Jimbo's such great TV." And she's like, "Bitch, I'm trying to win. Did you see how I had to fucking babysit that bitch across the stage when we lip sync together? Not doing that again."
Yeah, Jimbo is super talented, but if I was Pangina, I'd also eliminate the competition.
Yeah, it's honestly, there needs to be like 3 different kinds of RuPaul's Drag Race, honestly, because there are those people who like lip sync assassins, like really great at what they do technically on the stage. Then you have the people that are like the comedy queens, the drama queens, the people who like, if we're voting on personality, that's our winner right there. And then you have the people who are just like unbelievably otherworldly gorgeous. And when you're bringing those 3 disparate types of performers together, it makes it really hard to compare because it's apples, oranges, and lemons. They're not the same. And so it's like, okay, Jimbo's great for comedy. Jimbo's great for personality. But have you seen this person lip sync?
Jimbo is a horrible lip syncer, but at least the looks have been good too. She's got 2 of the 3.
That talent performance of just unzipping some baloney from your crotch and throwing it at people? Come on now.
That was funny. It was camp. You didn't like that? I thought that was good.
I'm just gonna say this. It's funny to watch those people have baloney thrown at them. If you throw a fucking piece of baloney at me, I'm bum rushing the stage.
I guess Jimbo's not the show you should go see.
Hell fucking nah. I mean, I'm glad that you're okay with that, but no, if I go to a show and you throw a fucking piece of warm crotch baloney at me, we're fighting.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right.
This would be a great topic for Between the Cheeks. We could talk about crotch baloney as one of our podcasts.
That'll be the episode title, Crotch Baloney. Maybe I'll title this Crotch Baloney and see who makes it this far.
No. The Wonder Girls, crotch baloney? Question mark?
No, just crotch baloney.
Oh no.
It's called crotch baloney. Anyways.
Let's talk about what's coming up before we go. Mason, what's coming up next on the upload schedule?
So this will probably be next. I switched this with the Call Me By Your Name review because I was not in a good mood last weekend and I have not filmed that yet. So I'll probably film that tomorrow because I have tomorrow off and I'll put that up in a couple days. And then the next Boys Love review after that will be Scum Season 3.
Yay! And the next music we'll be doing will be after Scum because we're kind of doubling up on the music right now. We're going to be doing, because it seems appropriate to me, Janet Jackson.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I know that I said that Jade is going to be on your Lady Gaga because I think that that makes sense. But I wanted to talk about Janet Jackson because she just recently had her documentary where she talked about kind of her life and her troubles and some of the scandals she's been in. Also, the Super Bowl in current real time just happened, a week ago. And so I was really debating between Janet Jackson or Mary J. Blige. But I wanted to not do Mary J. Blige right now because I feel like that's so incredibly niche that I need to kind of stick with the biggest names first before I get you there.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's probably going to be Janet. And then after that, it might end up being, depending on where Lady Gaga fits into everything and where Britney Spears fits into everything, probably my next pick after we do Janet Jackson is going to be Whitney Houston.
Oh, interesting. I haven't decided on what my next pick is, but I don't know. We'll see. I honestly might pick Park Jin Young.
That would be a look.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited to do Janet because I honestly only know Rhythm Nation. Yeah, I know Rhythm Nation.
Yeah. That's enough. That's enough.
And I mostly know Rhythm Nation from the bad version in the Cinderella movie with Camila Cabello.
Ah, well, I know you know a little Janet from Drag Race, so we'll just build on that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining.